Welcome to Breaking Solo, how solopreneurs break barriers, build brands, and embrace the future of business.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining Breaking Solo. And today's guest is Kristin. Okay, Kristin, I'm going to let you pronounce your last name because I don't want to screw it up. But thank you for joining me today. Will you introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you so much, Donna. My name is Kristin Madeja. I own Madeja Media. I help small businesses connect and have greater customer activity by building up their foundations with their website through messaging, photography, and web design.
Awesome. Okay, let's tell me what triggered you to start your solopreneurship journey.
Yeah, my husband actually inspired me. His name was John. We worked together in Christian ministry for about 15 years, but we were ready for a change. And we wanted to build more of a portfolio lifestyle, being able to try different things and have lots of different avenues for revenue and income. He wanted to be a life coach, and I think the dream was that he would do that into his 70s, and I would be a photographer and a marketer, and we would work together and have this amazing life and business together.
Awesome. And has it went the way you thought it would?
It did not. It's April 2025, and in October of 2023, he passed away from cancer.
Oh.
And we were married for 23 years and had wonderful dreams. And now things have changed significantly. So that has created a lot of upheaval and dramatic differences in where I thought I would be and where my business is today.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
That's very sad. So has that been the biggest challenge you've faced?
Yes, that is no doubt the biggest challenge I faced. Neither of us knew. He battled through his cancer. He didn't say he battled. He journeyed through his cancer for over 8 years. And we thought we were on the next step. We were going to do another treatment. It was going to work. We were going to have another thing that happened. And we were surprised. We didn't know that would be the end at that time, And so, and he was my partner. He was the other half of my brain. He helped me with ideation and with all these great ideas and new ways of thinking. And he got me out of my box and helped me be extroverted. And all of a sudden, all of those things were gone.
So how have you gotten through that?
I took several months, obviously, to just be and to regroup. It happened early enough in my business where I had some clients, but there was nothing urgent, and people were super gracious, and so I just was able to take the time that I needed, and I grieved and I processed and I went through and had to reset and learn how to do everything and learn who I was again as a person, I had never paid my credit card as an adult, because we got married as soon as I got out of college. So I had to figure out and learn how to do all of these things that I had never done before. And out of that, gained a lot of strength and saw the people in my life come around me in ways that were really, really helpful.
That's wonderful. Really wonderful. So did you think about giving up during that time?
No, I actually didn't.
Good.
The work that I was going to get to do, the work that I was setting myself up for was super motivating and exciting. I had actually lost my job 5 months prior to all of that. I got laid off. And so this was it. I could have gone to get another job, right? That's always an option. It's always there for all of us solo entrepreneurs, but I didn't want to do that. He believed in me so much. He was so behind me in everything that I was doing that he wanted to see me be really successful in this. He believed in me more than I believed in myself for a long time.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So do you have a unique niche that you focus on? Because you said websites and photography and messaging.
I do not. It's honestly been a challenge. I have lots of skills. I have lots of experience. I've been in marketing for 25 years now. And so I've done event marketing and direct response and websites and photography and graphic design and brands and on and going through my husband's loss really had it forced me to focus, because it's like I can't do all of these things. One, I have to make money. I have to have enough to survive and move forward. And so what was going to be profitable? What was I going to enjoy? What was I going to want to get up every day to actually do? And so I really honed in on websites are really fun. It brings together messaging. I'm a StoryBrand certified marketer, and so bringing together that aspect of things, it brings together the direct response aspect of marketing, which is the side of marketing that's asking for the sale, right? Like you have brand marketing where you're creating feelings and emotions around your brand, but direct response is about asking for the sale. And so being able to combine those things all together and then saying, oh yeah, I'm a photographer. Like that goes along with websites. That goes along with how we tell our story. That goes along with how being a solo entrepreneur and building your personal brand. And so
Absolutely.
putting all of those things together has become my niche. And being able to be a one-stop shop for a lot of small businesses is a great thing.
That's great. That's great that you have all those talents.
Yes, but if I'm overwhelmed by all my talents, my customers are going to be overwhelmed by all my talents. So I really had to pull back and say, what am I not going to do? What am I going to outsource? What am I going to give to other people that they can do it better, faster, cheaper than people would want to pay me for some of those things?
So, was there a specific moment when you knew that your business idea had traction?
No. I think it's been this steady, like every new client is a gift, and every relationship that I build is an opportunity, whether or not they become a client or not. I've been able to build a network and go to local networking events and connect with a lot of people, and each of those can be, I get to resource them, they get to resource me, we get to be in community together, and those are all wins in my book.
Awesome. Okay. Do you have a tool, an app, a resource that you just can't live without?
I have so many. I have so many tools and resources, probably just like every marketer. I use Trello for project management. I use Google Calendars for literally every single thing in my life. I calendar my bills and when to mow the yard and when to change the furnace filter and when to get my tires rotated, but it's also keeping that in front of me, like calendar blocking and doing all of those things to help me get my job done too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you have any books or courses or mentors that have made a real impact in your success?
I think mentors have been really important to me. It's easy in the solo entrepreneur world. I think, at least for me, it was to feel like I can do this all by myself because I'm solo, and that's the nature of the job, right? But
Right.
there's having people around me is how I can thrive, and having people who can speak into my life help me get to the next level. And so I've had mentors from jobs. I've had mentors who are coaches. I've had mentors for people who help me, whether it's a financial planner or it's the person who's great at doing their lawn care down the street. I can go to them and get their expertise and lean on them when I need help. And now that I'm on my own, it's me or somebody else. Like I have to find someone. I know I've figured out I can't do all of these things, and so I have to bring somebody in to help me.
Yeah. So, locally, there are two other marketers, two other ladies that are marketers, and all three of us use a product called Go High Level. So that's where our connection came together. So we meet once a month and just cry and celebrate and
Yes.
do all the things. And it's
Yes.
just so helpful to have other other people that are going through the same thing to
Yes.
have a conversation with.
Absolutely. Yeah. This last couple months, I've met with people from my last job. We're all marketers together. We're all trying to launch things. They still have full-time jobs. And so in some ways, they're jealous of me because I'm getting to do all of these things on my own, which they want. But
Right.
then I'm jealous of them because they're not out there having to hustle and sell and do all the things that I have to do. So we get to sharpen one
Yeah.
another. And I met with my former mentor from my job, and it was so great because he reminded me of all the things that I'm really good at that I had kind of forgotten,
Yeah.
between the grief and just being in my own head too much. You kind of get myopic sometimes, and you need someone else to say, hey, you're really good at this thing. I am really good at that thing. Thank you for recognizing that. I forgot.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yes.
Do you have a system or a workflow that you've created that saves you time and stress?
Not really.
No. I know you mentioned Trello. Do you share that with your clients?
I tried. I tried to share it with the client. It became too much. It became overwhelming for them and the back and forth. It was much easier for me to simply have a monthly meeting where this is the status of all your projects. This is what I'm working on next. What do you need me to work on? Here's what I need you to do. Here are your action items for the month, and to send him an email with the recap, or to use a transcription service that will do that on my behalf. That's even better.
Right. That's great. Okay. What kind of habits or routines do you have that helps you stay focused and productive?
Yeah, I do. I have a daily prayer time that starts my morning off, and that gets me refocused on what matters and what's important, and keeps my positivity, and keeps me a little bit outside myself. But then I use like there's some really cool like brainwave apps that allow you to use alpha, beta, and theta waves to hit different types of creativity in your brain. And there are times when I cannot focus to save me at all, and I'll use that and put that in, and it uses binaural tones in that are in the background, and suddenly I'm like, I just got 3 hours worth of work done, and it was amazing, and it was pure focus and
wow.
flow, which is great. And so stuff like that helps a lot.
That's incredible. So somebody that's just getting started on their solopreneur journey, do you have one piece of advice that you would give them?
One is, you got to have some savings. It takes way longer than you think to actually get money to come in the door. And that helped me so much, especially because I got laid off. So I got laid off, I got severance, I got unemployment, like all of those things helped a ton, because if I had quit my job, none of that stuff was coming in. So I was really lucky to have received that. But at the same time, like, I thought, here I am, like, I'm this awesome person. Look at all my skills. Look at all the things I can do. And I know these people. Yet you still have to sell to them. You still have to initiate. You still have to reach out. You still have to have one-to-ones. You still have to give them a proposal. You still, like, there's so much more work. And so it's, be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace. Take the time you need to figure out what your offerings are going to be, what you're going to sell to people, and keep changing it. It keeps changing for me every 6 months. I'm figuring out new and better ways to get the job done.
Good for you. It's really good for us to examine our businesses periodically and say, okay, what's working, what's not working?
Yeah.
What could I do better?
Yeah. Yeah, and then to recognize, like, in January, I'm like, I'm having this huge gap in my sales process. And so I hired a sales coach to help me fill in, like, why is this one little part not working? And so she was able to help me analyze, like, well, you didn't do these other things 3 or 4 steps in advance. And so then people are frustrated and disappointed, and you're not, like, I had to change my process so that they would understand what I offered and how I could help them. And I needed someone on the outside to help me get there because I was not going to figure that out on my own.
Yeah, yeah. I interviewed somebody early today that said she believes that every solopreneur needs a coach. That it
Yes.
just is, it's hard to grow on your own without outside feedback.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine celebrated with me recently because I had a coach who helped me, and I felt like I leapfrogged a year. Like I could have gotten to where I'm at now over time. I would have gotten there. I would have figured out, I would have troubleshooted, I would have worked through it. And especially not having my husband, like the fact that I could get through that and not have that second brain with me to get the job done, the coach helped me leap ahead so much faster than if I had tried to do it by myself.
Well, that's great that you took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could go back and do one thing differently, what would it be?
Profit first. You have to know your numbers. You have to do the math and figure out what it takes to live and what is the work that you're going to do and how are you going to afford to actually get to your goal. You have to work the math backwards to really get there. I implemented the profit first mentality in March a year ago, and I've paid myself every month since then. And it's a huge victory, Like I had
Yeah.
a side hustle. I had a side hustle for over 8 years, and I paid myself with whatever was left over at the end of the year. And it's like that's not being paid. That's a hobby. It
Yeah.
was a great hobby, but now I get paid. I get paid every month, and I can plan ahead and get to where I want to go.
That's awesome. Good
Yeah,
for you.
yeah.
Awesome. All right. Kristen, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed our conversation. I hope you have as well. I know the audience will get a lot of value from your episode. Where can people connect with you and learn more about what you do?
Absolutely. My website is kristinmadeja.com, and you can always find me on LinkedIn as well. And those are two great places where you can find me.
Awesome. And her links will be in the show notes, ladies and gents. Thanks so much for joining me today, Kristen.
Thank you for having me, Donna. It's great to be here.
Thank you.